Our next topic is new technology every facility manager needs to improve synchronized time management with Chuck Olson. Chuck is Vice President of Sales and Service for American Time. So Chuck, over to you.
My name is Chuck Olson. I am the Vice President of Sales with American Time, and we're here to talk about how to improve your synchronized time management with your synchronized clock systems if you have them. American Time is a producer of synchronized clock systems, both in the network clock, which is Wi-Fi and PoE, as well as we have standalone RF synchronization systems. What we're here to talk about today is how to do clock management through a web-based or cloud-based portal called InCloud. So with clock management, we have certain difficulties that are encountered with managing a large clock system. First of all, it's hard to know the status of the clocks. They're scattered throughout our facilities, and it's hard to get a good pulse of what all these, the status of all the clocks are. And also in troubleshooting, we get a call from someone's clock is not keeping time. Well, we don't know exactly why it's not keeping time anymore. Is there a failure in the clock mechanism? Has there been a power failure? Is it not connecting to the network? There's many reasons why that clock may not be keeping time anymore. How do we configure the clocks? Traditionally, Wi-Fi clocks have to be configured on a peer-to-peer basis. That can be very time-consuming in a very large installation. And also controlling those clocks for daylight savings time or display intensity, what have you. You want to be able to control those from a central location. And then security. We may want to change our SSID or password from a security perspective. Or there's a new firmware update. How are we going to deploy this new firmware update? Do I have to go to each clock and do that individually? With the advent of our new software, we will talk about the advantages of doing that. So at American Time, we just introduced our new cloud-based platform called InCloud. And InCloud is our portal for managing all of our network products. We have a product called EverAlert, which is a 21st century classroom tool that's a multifunctional platform that does synchronized time, digital signage, as well as emergency notification. That operates in the InCloud platform. And most excitingly now, where we've introduced is the fact that InCloud also controls our other network clocks, our Wi-Fi clocks, both analog and digital, as well as battery or AC powered, as well as our PoE clocks, both analog and digital. So what you're seeing now is an example of a site in which you can see all of the network devices for your particular site through the InCloud portal. All these devices are now visible, whether they be Wi-Fi, PoE, or EverAlert. You can look at the clock names, their locations, their status as far as whether they're connected to the network or not, and what their power is, if they're electrically powered, or if they're battery, you get to see their battery status, as well as their firmware level. So at a glance, you're able to see a lot of information about your clocks and the status of your system. We're going to focus in now on a view of just our Wi-Fi clocks. And here you can see we have a number of Wi-Fi clocks. They're all battery operated, but we have a couple of clocks that need attention. Here you can easily see that we have clocks that have some low battery levels with indication that it would be a good time now to go replace those clocks. Batteries and make sure that you were being proactive in our management of these clocks. If in fact you were to get a call about a clock that has not keeping accurate time anymore or has stopped working, you could quickly pull up the portal and see, do I have a battery issue or a power issue with that clock? Or if I have a bunch of clocks in a similar area that all have failed to synchronize, would that be an indication maybe that our access point has failed for one reason or another? And it that has nothing to do with the clocks at all. It actually has to do with our network infrastructure. But we can see that before we ever leave our desk and have to go start to troubleshoot on site. We have a pretty good idea what the trouble might be. One of the nice features of InCloud is the ability to also to control the configurations of the clocks. We can control the brightness of the displays if they're a digital clock. We can control the daylight savings time format that we want to use, as well as on digital clocks, whether we do a 12-hour or 24-hour time frame. We also can configure the SSID network and the Wi-Fi password in case we want to change either of those. We can deploy that through the clocks in a mass a deployment through InCloud. So InCloud is a very big time saver relative to managing your clocks and your security on your network. Here you can see a little bit more detail relative to how we would change the SSID and password, and also how we would configure the security type. Each of these can be managed through the portal and then deployed out to the respective clocks. If now we take a look at how we can manage not only Wi-Fi clocks, but PoE clocks, here you can see a good example of analog and digital PoE clocks being managed on the portal. Again, we can name the clocks for their location to help identify where they're located. We also see their MAC address and their firmware status, as well as the status overall that they're connected and everything is in a good state. When we look at being able to configure these clocks, especially with digital PoE clocks, we have the ability to name the device, but we also can control the clocks from a intensity perspective, time format, whether we want to do daylight savings time in auto or have some special configuration, what time zone we're in. All that is managed now through the InCloud portal. With our digital clocks, we also have the ability to have a calendar option associated with those clocks. And we can configure the calendar options through InCloud, what the date format is, what the duration of the clock versus the duration of the calendar is displayed, and whether we display the calendar at all. Those capabilities are all managed through the portal via InCloud. So with InCloud, we believe in using a term called active clock management, where we're not waiting for the clocks to fail or for something to be reported to us by an end user, but we can actually derive reports from InCloud that can be delivered to you via email, either on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Here's an example of a report that you would get out of InCloud. Again, these reports can be delivered to you on a daily basis if you want, weekly or monthly. And here you see the status of all of the devices that are on InCloud, the last time that they were synchronized, what their battery level is. Again, this report is something that you can use to be actively monitoring your clocks and proactively going out and replacing batteries or looking at any areas that might be indicated by failing in synchronization or what have you. And you'll be able to see this on this report. InCloud is also the management portal for our product called EverAlert. EverAlert is a multifunctional platform, 21st century technology that does synchronized time, digital messaging, as well as emergency notification. EverAlert has a very nice look and feel to it, and it replaces that same real estate that a traditional clock or point solution clock would have in a classroom with a 22-inch digital display that's capable of delivering synchronized time in both analog or digital format, instant messaging for paging or delivering the daily schedule, morning announcements, congratulatory messages, as well as welcoming messages, those type of things in a digital messaging format. And then at the same time, it's there waiting to deliver any kind of emergency notification where the screen gets completely taken over by the emergency notification, whether that be fire or armed intruder. We also tie the EverAlert system into NOAA for active weather information, whether that be pending winter weather or tornado warnings or watches can all be broadcast over the EverAlert platform. Here you can see a display list of all the EverAlerts and their status. Again, they can be named for their location. We can see the status of when they last synced, what their format is. Again, an ability to manage our assets here with the InCloud, and makes it a much more robust management system using the InCloud platform. So in summary, InCloud Management Portal, it allows us to be proactive versus reactive in our clock management. As such, it will help us reduce the amount of time that we spend, reduce our man hours on a per incident basis. It gives us a single access point for checking the status and troubleshooting our clock systems, as well as configuration and control, and also security and updates. All these things will help us improve our overall work efficiency, and the response to any type of trouble that might get reported to us will be much more able to react to that. So that's our InCloud platform. I really appreciate you spending your time to learn a little bit about American Time and InCloud. If you'd like any information on InCloud, EverAlert, or any of our synchronized clock systems, you can find that information at www.american-time.com, and our phone number is 800-789-1882. Again, thank you very much.
So Chuck, the first question, using InCloud, can I monitor other manufacturers' clocks?
Yeah, hi, Lori. Unfortunately, no. InCloud only works with American Time products, and whether that be any of our network clocks or EverAlert, it does require some proprietary software that we have, so we only manage our own product line.
Okay, thank you. Next question, let's say I order 75 clocks for our building and start using the InCloud to manage them. What happens when I order another 50 or 100 clocks in the future? How does that change my subscription?
Yeah, it's really pretty easy with InCloud. When you're under subscription, we don't charge any additional money as you add clocks to that subscription, and then only at the expiration of that time period, we kind of take a look at how many clocks you got now, then adjust the subscription rate based off of the current count of clocks.
Okay, thanks. Now, before we move on to our next demo, Chuck, any final thoughts for our audience?
Just, the InCloud platform is a very powerful platform that we've introduced. It's going to allow us to manage other technologies, whether it be mass notification. We're working with gunshot detection companies. We can control lighting or door access, all from the same portal that we are using to control our clocks right now. So within cloud, it's got the ability to continue to adapt and have a different or more capabilities. And with the introduction of InCloud, we've got some special promo going on. So look at our website or give us a call and we can talk to you about how to get started with InCloud at a really attractive rate.